Viewer discretion is advised.
And there's a deer crossing the road and a train in front of us. Pretty amazing. Stupid little deer. Hello, everybody, and welcome to X-Plane 10. Yes, I finally got X-Plane 10. Well, we have to thank my wonderful girlfriend, Nicole. It was an early Christmas gift, and I absolutely love this simulator. Just getting used to the quirks and everything and difference from FSX has been a little bit of time, but it's so worth it. It's in a beautiful, beautiful sim. So this is a first look at it with you. We're not going to do anything too crazy today. We're just going to do some flying basically over to downtown airport, which is right by downtown St. Louis. And we'll land there, and then I think we're going to turn around and come back. And when we do that, we'll do it at night so you can see how awesome the night textures are in the cars and the highways and everything else, because this is awesome. So without further ado, let's get inside the airplane and get her fired up. Alrighty, welcome aboard here. As you can see, we're just going to use no track IR today. We're just going to use the mouse looking around, and I have the predefined keys as set. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. I have a back seat, 5 there, 6. So for the overhead panel, 7 is down at the autopilot. 8 is a close-up of the GPS panel, and so on and so forth. So really, really neat feature X-Plane has is that you just hit Control 1, 2, 3, or whatever on the numpad, and you can always move it around with the arrow keys wherever you want to go, left or right, and then just hit 1, bam, I'm back to where I was. So let's get this thing fired up. I have a lot of things already slaved to the CH throttle quadrant. So my master battery switch, I can just click on with that, as well as the avionics, and turn that on. And you're gonna hear the air conditioning fire up and everything, all different sounds. So that's all good to go. And then I have my 2 ignitions, and all I have to do is flip both of those up. You'll see engine auto ignition down there on the right and the left. So I have my ignition set. I could have just clicked them right there like that, but no need to do that. Generators are off now because we haven't started it yet. And here's how we start the engines. I have these already 2 switches on my throttle quadrant, so let's go ahead and fire the engines up. First things first, let's put a beacon light on. And keep in mind, this is one of the default airplanes that X-Plane ships with, and it's a fantastic little thing, I gotta tell you. Okay, so we'll put our props forward. We'll go low idle on our mixture, like so. And I'm going to hold down. We'll start engine 2 first. Parking brake is set. Turning 2. And you'll see it move here in a second on the right. We're just keeping an eye on the ITT there as it goes up. Starts to climb. There's the torque and all that good stuff. There we go. Good, positive there. Engine is firing up very nicely. We'll let it stabilize and we'll turn that ignition. We'll leave them on auto for now until we get in the air. That's just in case we have an engine failure. So that's looking good there. Okay, maybe our brakes weren't set. We don't have red messages popping up to tell us like FSX does. Okay, let's go ahead and start the left engine. Alrighty, that looks good there. Let's go ahead and turn our generators on. Left and right. Looks good there, like so. Avionics is on. Everything is good. We're not worried about anything with the GPS. We're not messing with any of that today. I did do a flight to Kansas City the other day, and it was a lot of fun. So we're just doing clear skies, all that good stuff. So that's all fired up. We'll take off runway 12 right. And 3001, we'll put our altimeter to 2992 since it's going to be standard. We don't have anything to worry about there. All right, looks good. Ignitions are on auto right now, and that is correct. That's where we want them. So we'll just go ahead and we'll kill the brake and let this sucker just start to roll a little bit here. And I'm going to go ahead and flip a taxi light on. And we'll head down to runway 12 right. my taxi out, I'm going to test my my reversers. So what I'll do is I'll toggle the reverse on. We'll test the right one first. Looks good. And the left. Looks good. Let that stabilize a little bit there and toggle those off and back to flight idle. All right, while we taxi, let's go ahead and set our flaps to approach. And there they go. Approach flaps are set, and takeoff trim, double check it. Set. All right, we're getting closer to the runway down here, so let's go ahead and set our landing lights on right now. Let's turn, oh, our nav should have already been on, they weren't on. We'll turn our strobe lights on as well. And we're gonna be pretty much ready to go down here at 12 right. Numbers here a little blurry, and this little texture piece there on the glare shield is blurry. That's because I turned off the HD textures. Okay, I don't know what that train's doing there. That's not really too legit right there. There's not enough buildings to hide that. Usually there's the big Boeing building, you don't see it, but there is a train. There are train tracks right there, so that is correct. But as we taxi out here onto the runway, we'll go full forward on our mixture, like so. Still at flight idle, so nothing to go yet. And we're ready to go. So let's go stabilize there, looks good, and take off power. Takeoff power is set. Like I said, I had the textures turned down for some added frame rates for recording because Fraps kills it, you know. V1, rotate. Ooh, hello. There we go. Positive rate, gear up. And I have gear matched to a button on my yoke as well. Climbing out of St. Louis, we can see the archway out there, and that's where we want to head. All right, we're crossing over Highway 70 and 170, that whole interchange there. And off our nose there, that little lake there, that's called Rent Lake. I have been there a few times, actually, in the past. And just a beautiful climb out of St. Louis right now. Loving it. And that's the AI talking to the tower up there. That's why that keeps popping up. No big deal. Not going to worry about it too much. Clean our flaps up. As we do so, the nose will drop on us like that, which is fine. Still pull some power back like so. Looking good. So climbing about 2,500 feet. And we'll just do a straight in approach to runway 12 at downtown airport. In fact, for fun, we'll just we'll fly a left base. So we'll go past Edward Jones Dome and then swing around the arch there, and we'll be on the Illinois side and set up for a left base for runway 12. One thing I really, really love about X-Plane is the fact that the throttles are quite sensitive. If I were to pull back a little bit of power on the right, notice how the airplane will start to turn the other way. And sometimes if the airplane starts to turn to one side, you can easily correct it by just getting the power set perfectly where you need it. And as we descend down to 1,500 feet, we're going to have a look here. I've already pulled the power back. We'll go approach flaps on the base leg. But if we look over to the right, you can see there's downtown, and that's the new Busch Stadium there. I had buildings turned down again for some added frame rates. I'm just still testing things right now. They can be a lot more popular than that. It's not a big deal. I just have them turned down for now. Just beautiful approach we're flying here as we make our way to a left base for runway 12. In doing so, I'm going to pull my power back and nose up, and we're going to bleed some speed off here so we can get into the first flap setting arc, which we are right there. So we'll put the flaps in And we'll tighten up our approach here next to the, that's just telling us that our gear isn't down. We know that. And I have the idle power. So I can add a little bit of power here and it'll shut that up, that horn up right there like so. Looking good. I want to maintain it about right. Here's looking good. 1,500 feet. Nice. Keeping that thing, that little horn to shut up there. So we're making sure our mixture's full forward, props are forward. Everything looks good. Let's have a look outside the window here as we get closer to the runway. Let's go pull the gear down. Pulling power once again. Nose drops down like that because the physics are awesome. No other reason, really. All right, we're getting close to intercepting this glide slope on the VASI lights. Or they might have pappies here. I don't remember exactly. Let's go final set of flaps. Landing flaps are set. We want to shoot for the blue arc. So 110 knots is looking good there. Lining up here. I turned a little early, not too bad. Adding our power in. Getting a traffic advisory there for something. I'm not sure what exactly. Nope, no Vazzies or pappies or pappies on this one, so not a big deal. Let's fly ourselves on down here. We got plenty of runway. Short final, looking good. Bring this nose up. Pulling our power back ever so slightly here. Very nice. Bring up the nose. Little higher. Ooh, little. Almost down. There we are. And we're down. Like so. Reverse thrust. Just using full reverse thrust. King Air, you don't want to use the brakes on too much. Alrighty, as we're taxiing, we can go ahead and pull our mixture down to low idle like so, and we'll taxi back to the runway. This time we're going to switch over and we'll be at night, so we can do a night flight return. How about that? And there's a deer crossing the road and a train in front of us. Pretty amazing. Stupid little deer. The deer will only be out if it's really nice out and stuff. Oh, there's another deer. 2 deer. Make sure we don't run into any of them. Oh, yep. Tons of them. Tons of deer. Holy shit. All right, we're just going to sit here. Let all the deer cross the road. Actually, we're going to go ahead and make it nighttime. Okay, so it is nighttime. We'll go ahead and set up the lighting. I'll show you what the lighting's like in the, again, this is a default airplane. This is why it's just absolutely incredible. We can brighten everything up here that we want. We can, where's the little dial at? Like so. I like all my gauges nice and bright. We can adjust our floodlight here. So we can make it a little bit dimmer, like so. And then we can adjust the instrument light, which is that green light. We can kind of blend it and make it look good too. So I like it nice and dark like that. So let's go ahead and release the brakes and we'll taxi back. Bring the flaps up from our previous landing. Like so. And I'm telling you what, guys, this is going to be one hell of a treat for you, this return flight to St. Louis at night. The night is unbelievable. Not only is it unbelievable, but the traffic on the roads are just incredible. There's just no other words for it. No words for it at all. And the lights, the lighting is really good. It's not that triangle light from FSX. And you know, and I'm a fan of FSX, but after playing X-Plane, it's just, the best way I can describe it is it feels like you're flying an airplane. It bobs and moves around in the air, and it just feels like you're, flying through the air, not just, you know, FSX sometimes can feel like it's on rails. Like, you know, I mean, it takes some skill, but you got to realize that flying a real King Air, it's a hell of a job. I mean, it's not exactly easy to do. So, they keep your hands full, and I like that a lot. Alrighty, we're here on runway 12. We're gonna line up. There's the reels right there, as you can see. And we'll line up on the runway like so. And you can see right there, just through the lights, how imperfect the runway is. So let's go ahead and move our mixture forward like so. And we're pretty much ready to go. We're gonna double check our approach flaps there like so. And trim, we'll set that to about right there. Is gonna be good for us. Maybe even a little bit more than that. And we're good to go. So brakes released, add power, stabilized, takeoff power set. And now we taxi, well, take off down the runway. 80 knots was crossed over, looking good. V1, rotate. There's V2 in positive rate, gear up. But just look at how beautiful this is. And this is Highway 255 off our nose. And as I turn over Highway 255, you're gonna see the cars going down it. It's pretty darn cool. Looking good on our climb out. Let's shallow that out a little bit. Keep an eye on our speed, like so. You can see cars moving about down there, just off our nose. And we'll continue to climb around. We'll fly over St. Louis again, and then we'll shoot the visual runway 30 left, or 30 right approach. We'll do that instead. Here's Highway 255. Spinning back around this way, looking good on our climb out. We'll just go to 2,000 feet this time. Last time we were just a little too high. No need for it. In fact, we'll shoot the ILS into 30 right, since I already know the information for that. Looking good. Let's go ahead and bring our flaps up. And here is downtown St. Louis. Is that not a sight or what? All right, we're getting closer to 2,000 feet, so I'm going to go ahead and get this thing set up for the ILS. We'll just go to 111.3, like so, for the localizer. And that's going to be, of course, 302. Looks good about right there. Look at Highway 6440 right there off our nose. Look at all the car traffic down there, and the Martin Luther King Bridge and all that, and Highway 70 right along there. Just incredible. So yeah, we just pretty much follow Highway 70, and if we're gonna do a visual to it, but we're gonna shoot the ILS for fun. And they want us to be a little higher on the ILS, so let's go ahead and climb. You usually enter the approach fix around 2,500 feet. So we'll catch the glide slope for 30 right, like so. All right, we're leveling off here at 2,500 feet over Highway 70 right off our nose. You see all the cars moving about down there, and all the cars down there on our left. Pretty awesome. Let me add a little bit of power, so I always shut that horn up a little bit there. No need to hit the flaps yet. And localizer's alive. We'll turn on to the localizer, pull our power back a little bit. Let's go approach flaps. And now we can start to see the runways lighten up for us. This thing is gonna bitch at us. We won't go gear down yet. So we're gonna intercept the glide slope. And once we intercept the glide slope, then we'll go gear down. And so on and so forth. All right, just about to make the glide slope here, and look off our nose. Look at Highway 70. That's just so insanely awesome. All right, there's the glide slope, gear down. Pull our power back a little bit here. So we slow this sucker up, and let's follow the glide slope down. We are on the localizer already. A little to the right of it, but not too bad. And I tell you what, if you guys want to know what nighttime flying in the real world is like, well, if you've flown, you know what it's like commercially. I mean, this is what it's like. It's amazing. This is just amazingly accurate. It feels like you're flying through the air, and I know we're gonna have a lot of fun with this X-Plane series. And don't worry, you know, I've got a lot of time and money wrapped up in FSX. I'm not going to quit FSX. It just it'll be nice to spread it evenly through the sims, you know. We're a little tad low. We'll bring this nose up. Let's go ahead and go landing flaps. There's a police car down there off our nose going down the highway at a high rate of speed. Looking good here. Right on the glide slope. This is just freaking amazing. That's all I can say. We're getting close to 110 knots where we want to be for our VREF. We'll keep +5 just in case. Tad low, we'll bring that nose up. And I'm just flying this with the elevator trim, the electric trim. I'm not using any of the actual input on the yoke. No need to do that yet. We are hand flying it still considered hand flying. Looking good on our localizer and on the glide slope. A tad low, but we've got the pappies and ingredients. Add a little more power as we get slowed up here. Stay on the localizer. Yeah, we're right on the localizer. I need to get an exclude file or something there off the nose. Because you see those houses and trees that aren't there in real life. But it's good. We'll just treat them as a obstacle. We don't need to get lower than the glide slope anyway, and we'll be fine. There's Highway 170. We're getting ready to come over. If you're a St. Louis native, you know how impressive that is. Looking good. And pretty much with the King Air, you pull your power back just a little bit right here. There's a middle marker. Like so. Or tad low. Bring this nose up. About right there is looking good. And you just kind of fly the plane to the runway. You're not necessarily pulling the power back till you get lower to the ground like so. Looking good here. Pull the power back just a little bit. Little left rudder. Little right rudder, actually. Oh, hello. On up. And we're down. Nice. Oh, hello. We bounced it there because of that reverse thrust. You know, in FSX, the runways are level. In X-Plane, they're not. They're based on the real elevation. Alrighty, looks good to me. First thrust off. We'll make it right up here. And go low, go to idle on the power. And we'll taxi to the ramp. We're going to taxi over to Saberliner ramp. That doesn't have the building on here, on this scenery particularly. I still have a lot of work to do on this scenery to get it where I want it. Oh no, they have the building. It's right up here, off our nose. There's the Saberliner building right there. So we'll park there, and we'll call it from there. I really am having a lot of fun with this simulator, and you know what? If you guys are into a hardcore simulation, and I mean you really enjoy aviation and flight, this is the sim for you. It lacks in the AI department, not a big deal. They're kind of AI is kind of annoying actually. But I mean, when it comes to it's just beautiful. There's no other words for it. But you know, it's totally different than Flight Simulator X. It's a lot more realistic in my opinion. I think the planes fly a lot more true to life. So that's good. Let's go ahead and we'll just kill our right engine and our left engine. We'll pull those props back like so. Good. And they're dying out as they should. You'll actually see them physically moving around there in a second. And we'll turn off the strobe lights. Don't need those. We should have cleared those off when we got off the runway in the beginning. And we turn our lane light off and taxi light off. We don't need that either. But that's going to do it, guys. I hope you enjoyed, and hit the like button if you want to see more X-Plane 10. I'll see you on a future flight.